Meet Dave of Delusions of Grandeur, actor, producer, and director of films like Tales of the Forgotten. He has come to assemble a team of freaks, geeks, and even worse, film nerds, to discuss films ranging from mainstream to downright crazy. There is Tammy, car enthusiast, and Dave's fiance, Dustin, reptile expert and overall horror collector, Jake, environmentalist and fine art film critic, and finally Brandon, a therapist with a love of film that can only be seen as insanity. Together under Dave's leadership, they are Inside Movies Galore. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. To heal.
Alrighty, hello ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Inside Movies Galore. I am one of your hosts, but we are continuing along with a series of films in a franchise which I'm not sure should have continued, but has. But that is an opinion. So, let's go over to our good friend Brandon, who brought this franchise about for us to discuss. What movie did you have us discuss in the View Askew universe lately?
We've got the 2019 Kevin Smith film Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Ain't over till it's over. And we kind of blanked a week. We're going to be still having one left, but we'll cover that in the new year with Clerks 3. But don't worry, we didn't forget about you. So
that's for sure.
We pick up actually in a good number of years past Clerks 2 and a lot of years past Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And we have our favorite duo discover they're doing a reboot of their film, much less they lose the rights to their own names. Well, they won't stand for that. But there's a little bit of a clog in this particular toilet chute where Jay finds out that he is a father and has to also come to grips with fatherhood as well as his own destiny to destroy the Blunt Man and Chronic films. Because he really wants a reboot. So we're just going to go down the line. So Tammy, was this your first time seeing Jay and Silent Bob Reboot?
Oh yeah, all of these have been my first time, so I thought it was fun. You know, like usual, the F word is plentiful, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, how to say, they're not as nasty, I don't think, in this one as they've been in the past. I mean, there's still the jokes and the innuendos, and like I said, no problem using the F word. But um, but it was fun. I mean, it was kind of neat to see Jay actually be a down to earth type of a person little bit, instead of always the jokes and always the and everything that So it was kind of neat to see like a little different side to him, to realize that yes, he can actually be what do you say, a normal human being. If you
As
dare,
normal as you can be.
yeah, I said, that
Yet
if
still
you
a
dare,
dumbass.
yeah, if you dare
Yeah.
say it that way, but it's definitely different for him, you know. Um, but I did find that there was definitely some good humor in it too. So so I did not know anything about these movies, and my first glimpse of these movies is the cartoon.
Mhm.
And then everybody said we would be watching these, and their their comedy is a little off at times, a little raunchy at times, but I've I guess they kind of grown on me. It's been a fun journey, I think, so far. So
Oh, and it ain't over yet. We've actually got 3 movies with them. Well, 4 if you count Scream 3, but I ain't counting that. Oh, and the Degrassi episodes with Jay and Silent Bob.
but I've had a lot of fun. I
Yep.
mean, I don't know who all follows and listens and everything, but you know, it's actually been a fun journey. I was not too sure when we started this at the beginning of the month, especially since I started this basically by watching the cartoons. It was my first glimpse of these guys, and even the cartoons. After the first couple of them, were kind of like, okay, this is different, because David will tell you I'm kind of a prude when it comes to cartoons. I don't like hardly anything that's out there.
Hardly anything outside of Scooby Doo and Looney Tunes,
Yep.
and that's pre the Looney Tunes show crap.
Mhm.
Except for How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah,
It's good.
and Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, wait till we cover the Watership Down.
But yeah,
Kids.
The original or the remake?
Real family cartoon,
So,
that one.
Jake?
I had a lot of fun. So
Not something I hear a lot of people say about Watership Down, but
All right. Well, why don't we move to you then, Jake? Was this your first time?
no, I saw this movie after it came out. Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes actually made a big thing of doing a road show of this movie, touring and presenting it. And I kind of wanted to do that, but it was really expensive. And to be honest, after seeing the movie, I would have felt like I overpaid.
Yeah, you and me both.
It's a. Did you end up doing that? I know you talked about it too.
I really wanted to, but
Yeah.
I just didn't have the money at the time.
It's the movie is in very many ways Kevin Smith's greatest hits. It really is. He's hitting all the beats from all the Universe films and throwing shade on the movies that are not part of the Universe. And actually, one thing I did not notice the first time I saw it, and it might have been on my mind because we've been going through these movies, and I know Brandon keeps talking about this again and again. What's part of the Universe? What's not part of it? So I noticed in this movie this time around I noticed no reference, and you guys can correct me if you heard any. I had noticed no references at all to Zach and Mary Make a Porno or to Red State.
I find Zach and Mary is one of those that I don't know. It just gets left out. It's the one that nobody thinks about because it's just out to the side.
But
people remember Cop Out because of how shitty it was, and remember Jersey Girl because of the gamble Smith made. But they never remember Zach and Mary.
Right, and that's part of my point. Like this movie, I love it when people can make fun of themselves. And one thing I do appreciate about this movie is that Kevin Smith takes a lot of pot shots at Kevin Smith in this movie in many different ways.
Well, he appeared in the movie.
Well, yeah, casting himself as the villain, having his daughter make some really snide remarks like that. Oh, he forces his daughter to be in all his movies, and like there were a few other things like that. But the fact that they do throw heavy shade. Jason Biggs says Jersey Girl killed his career, and James Vanderbeek kind of nods and yeah. And then you get the shade on Cop Out and that weird walrus movie. And
I've heard now several commentaries, and Smith repeatedly, I think he's gained a hatred almost for Jersey Girl, but it sounds like a lot of it was the fact that he had a movie envisioned and the studio basically said, nah, you ain't doing that. We're putting too much money in it. And so he felt like he had lost all creative control. He said that on 3 of these things now. So he has a bone to pick, apparently.
Yeah. Well, and so a lot of this was him exercising his demons. A lot of it was him just kind of, again, a hits tour, like bringing back all the favorites. Like, he brings back a lot of the characters that, like Alyssa Jones makes her first appearance, like proper appearance, because she had that cameo, I think, at the end of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. But this is like her first proper appearance, and they do a really good. There are a lot more Chasing Amy references than I remembered in this movie.
Well, I feel like that's a pretty sizable role at the end.
Well, yes, and we'll talk about that. But apparently, that was a really big behind-the-scenes thing with that. But we'll definitely have to talk about that scene. But so yeah, I appreciated a lot of the meta humor involved here. I appreciated a lot of the cameos. Some of the jokes were really funny. And I appreciate the movie clearly has a lot of heart. Like they really are trying to show this is Jay learning to adult for the first time. And I think he does a decent character arc in the movie, and Jason Mewes actually does a decent job with what's required of him for the role. So, I don't have a lot of issues in those respects. The parts I do have issues with are, one, this continues the trend that I think, Brandon, you used the term of Clerks 2 at times felt like a parody. At times, this one does the same thing. There are certain performances that are really over the top, really cartoonish, standing right next to really, really solid performances, and it just kind of feels like a mishmash at times. Just a couple of the people really felt like they were just kind of phoning it in. And you also had very few truly funny new jokes. Most of the jokes were referencing older jokes. There are a few referencing other movies. I did enjoy in Ben Affleck's scene where he managed to, in this rather heartfelt talk about his daughter, he managed to reference most of the big films he's been involved in the past decade and throw some serious shade at Batman v Superman. I absolutely love that moment. And that was one of my bigger laugh out loud moments, I think. Even though it's very quick and you'll miss it if you're not paying attention. But well, again, we'll get to that later. But the movie's a mixed bag for me. I think it is one of Kevin Smith's weakest films in most respects. But I also think like it's one of his most honest and genuine films at the same time. So it's like I don't really know what to think of it. Some people called it lazy, and I don't think it's that. I think he really was bringing a lot to the movie, but the execution was a little sloppy, I guess. And yeah, so yeah, I guess that's all I got to say on that. All right.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I was muted and didn't realize it.
Uh,
I try to mute during my coughing fits, and then I guess I just never unmuted. So, Dave, was this your first time watching?
Yes, this was my first time, and I'm not sure whether I want to watch Clerks 3 after watching this one.
Oh, it's a much better movie.
Therefore, you'll hate it more.
I'm not sure because it's not that I hated this one. I feel like the act of the View Askew universe is dead in the water.
Yeah.
And or at least at this moment, because of this movie. It's not that it was a bad movie. It was not a good movie. I got that Jason was a dad, and everything like that, but I feel like they were not bringing anything new to the table. It was kind of a rehash of Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, and that one was way better, even when Jason was actually on drugs.
A reboot.
I know, but if you're going to reboot something, reboot it. You know, it fell flat for me for a lot of reasons. But when Jason Lee and Jason Mewes were discussing how Hollywood was and about remakes and sequels and all that was funny. But when they were doing the whole music thing, I was just looking at the age of Jason Lee, and I was like, God, does he look old? Yeah. Even Ben Affleck was showing his age during his scene.
Well,
I mean, they're trying to be teenagers in this movie, and they are just not.
Well, they're not really.
I wouldn't say that. It's just if you look at the characters, Jay in particular, but Brody too. Brody was painted as extremely immature in Mallrats. And so the idea that he only grew up a little bit in 30 years tracks.
I know, but I still think it's just a bunch of old guys playing young parts. So
isn't that what happens to a lot of people in the end?
I mean, Grown Ups was better than this.
Well, they do make a lot of Kevin James jokes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But entirely a different Happy Madison group, you know?
Now,
so
I will say this time, at least, because I have to correct myself on my last one, this time these characters were around my age that I am now at this film, because that was about 5 or 6 years ago. And most of these people are about 5 or 6 years older than me. And so now I can say that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, at the end of the day, I enjoyed watching it. Now I can say that I've seen it, and now I understand why it was just sitting there on my shelf. So, just to be part of the Askew universe that I already had, um, and so I've seen it, and that's all I can say about it. So I not sure I can say too much further without being insulting, but it is what is, and I dread trying to see Clerks 3 after
Well,
Again, better
this
movie.
different,
weak movie.
And I
different.
will say you may find like I don't know if I can speak for Brandon. For me, this one definitely did ratchet the bar down quite a bit. And I went in with Clerks 3 with much lower expectations than I would have had. I think that's a good thing.
I want to. I need. I'm not sure how I'll feel about Clerks 3 now, watching it a second time around.
Yeah.
But it gave a good first impression to me. So I guess I'll get on to mine. Obviously, this is not my first time watching this. I was actually really excited to see him coming back to that well because I was curious. I still have a love for Jay and Silent Bob films, much like I want to watch that new Cheech and Chong movie that's just getting released on there. You know, some characters you just want to keep going with. And Kevin Smith had just gotten over his heart attack and he was moving back through, and he had that Yoga Hosers movie, which was probably his lowest point.
Supposedly the inspiration for this film because he didn't want that to be his last movie.
So it made sense to go back to the beginning. So whereas my issue with Clerks 2 was that I felt like it was a bit too manic energy-wise, that it ratcheted the energy way up from Clerks 1, which made it enjoyable but not great for me. And this one, I feel like they ratcheted the energy down. So it felt... What's the word?
Fell into a funk?
Well, it just felt less alive.
More subdued?
Yeah, much more subdued as a feature. That being said, it was still enjoyable. I would look at this one about the same as I look at Clerks 2. I find both of them enjoyable, but how they redeem themselves is different. Whereas Clerks 2, it redeems itself by being just funny and enjoyable. With Jay and Silent Bob, it redeems it for having some genuinely good pieces of writing scattered throughout the chaos. I mean, who would have thought that a Jay and Silent Bob movie would trigger any emotions other than maybe a little snarkiness? Yeah, excuse me. So with that being said, this is a interesting launch. And this is my second time watching it. I think I enjoyed it more this time around because I didn't have any expectations watching it, other than I was slightly disappointed the last time. So this time, I think I felt better watching it, and I enjoyed some of the jokes more. There are things I find unnecessary and shoehorned in, which we'll talk about that as we go, should my voice hold. But with that being said, let us begin.
Mhm.
We start where we should always start, at the quick stop. Um,
Right.
what was the name of the store that they opened? It was
Cocksmokers.
Cocksmokers, yeah. And the police decided to raid them because weed was still illegal at the time.
They've basically taken over RST Video, like pasted a new sign over it and everything. And yeah, Dante dutifully shows up for work on his day off as usual, only to get arrested by the cops. Or not really arrested, but cuffed and thrown over a car. He's like, "Is this about Randall? I could tell you where he is."
But they arrest them and they get taken to court.
Yeah.
I love how they do the smoke bomb in there, and Jay runs out with 2 marijuana plants in his hands as going out. Well, hard to be less incriminating.
Yeah. Well, and of course they did that. So they yell, "Drop the plants." Jay will mishear it.
Yeah, I said, drop the plants, not the pants.
And
So
if the overly high-strung SWAT officer holding the gun and standing next to the commanding officer looked really familiar, that was David Dastmalchian, played Polka Dot Guy in the Suicide Squad and various other roles too. I was like, is that who I think it is? And it was.
Well, it was an interesting little callback to Clerks 2.
Yeah. Yeah. There were a lot of the whole movie was full of callbacks.
Well, yeah.
Like, there was a mild callback to Tusk and Zack and Mary by their lawyer being played by Justin Long.
Yeah.
I think this is his first and so far only appearance in the Askew-universe, isn't it? And wasn't Craig Robinson in Zack and Mary?
Not sure.
I need to check on that. I think he was. But
I'm not even sure that there will be any more of Askew-averse films, but you never know.
You never know.
He said that there weren't any more several times now, so Jay and Silent Bob may still be back one day.
Right.
It will be for this channel.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
They really play on Silent Bob this time. I mean, he has the whole phone emoji system of communicating. He's gotten to the point apparently where he doesn't want to communicate at all, regardless.
Yeah, he probably says as much or more in this movie as just about any of them.
But
as Silent Bob, yeah.
They get to the court, and of course their lawyer, in quotation marks, has them sign papers, which Jay just says, just sign it. You don't need to read it.
Yeah. Silent Bob's like, no.
So he immediately gets them off, pretty much. But the reason they got him off is pretty much the same reason why they ended up getting the turnaround, which was, well, there's going to be a new Blunt Man and Chronic movie, and this is a publicity event, which they turned them down there. Then it turned it around, and it was like, okay, we're suing them because we own their name likenesses. They can no longer call themselves Jay and Silent Bob.
Right.
Which is the kickoff for the film.
Right. Well, we got our judge is Craig Robinson, and his name is Judge Jerry in Executioner. Just like, it's pretty fun. But yeah, it was probably the most unprofessional courtroom I think I've ever seen, especially the prosecuting attorney. But
and I know we have a lot of court cases that we have to get through when they look behind them.
Yeah. And of course, Jay and Silent Bob go crying to Brody. Yeah.
And we have a rehash of the scene from the original movie,
Mm-hmm.
which is where he has to explain what a reboot and a remake are.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, some of my favorite lines from that when they introduced Kevin Smith as directing the film.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, you mean the dude who made Cop Out? And then Jay says, let me see if I got this particular quote I got lined up. They still let him make movies after that walrus shit. Like, that was. There were a few lines in this there were a few jokes in this that really cracked me up.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, the fact that the two things that they were remembering Kevin Smith for in this were Cop Out and Tusk, it just makes me laugh.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also, in all the various things Brody says, there are, like I said, with Ben Affleck later, there are a lot of nods and references, not just to Kevin Smith movies, but to other films they're involved in. And like at one point, Brody's like, Hollywood doesn't make sequels anymore. Shit, don't even make squeakles, yo. An obvious reference to his unfortunate venture into the Alvin and Chipmunks movies.
Yeah.
They are, they had a lot of those. Yeah.
But they do have that rehash, which Dave obviously found cringy, which was the whole where they do that as they redid that again.
Yeah. They liked.
We should cover Mallrats again to re-reference.
Eventually. Maybe sometime next year we'll try and hit Mallrats and Chasing Amy. That'd probably be a good pairing.
We hit those and Clerks 3. We've got all of the Askewiverse.
Right, exactly. But at any rate,
but yeah, they go to Fly this time, which makes sense.
Go to what?
They go to Fly there.
Oh, right.
Hollywood. And I loved it so much I took a picture. Was when she's like $300 and some a piece.
Yeah.
And Bob is like, I got this. And he pulls out that little plastic bag with fuck you money on it.
Yeah.
See,
change.
Now, I admit, for me, it's a little bit more of a personal thing because me and my wife always talk about having that fuck you money so we could quit our jobs and, live the life.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I had to stop because I was laughing so hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
one of the many, 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 many celebrity cameos there was we got Molly Shannon as a not very pleasant airport attendant, although probably about on par with what one might expect, especially nowadays.
And of course, so they find out they're on the no-fly list.
Yeah.
So they decide to ascend because of, Jay is apparently the leader of the Clit.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, he is the Clit commander, as he said himself.
Hmm.
And so they decide, in a brilliant idea, to take an Uber. And there's a part of me that...
What do they call it in this one? Ride Me?
Yeah, Ride Me.
Yeah.
I do like, there is a part of me that's like, yeah, they took the asshole's credit card and just charged him for it.
Yes. That was fun. And apparently that was one of many references to not just existing products, but Kevin Smith for a while tried to make a Fletch movie and he wanted Jason Lee and it never really took off. And I guess Ted Underhill was like an alias Fletch used a lot, if I understand correctly. So making a little reference there, but yeah, that dude deserved it. He deserved someone do that.
Also, if you think about it, in Clerks 2, they had that Lord of the Rings versus whatever
Yeah.
conversation. Well,
Yeah.
the name that Frodo went to that first inn with was Mr. Underhill.
Yes,
So-
you are correct. You are correct.
There is the possibility he could have taken that from there too.
So, of course, we introduced Markin and the Hater Tots.
Ah, jeez. Yeah, Fred Armisen. Yeah.
I love how it's like I intended them to be for like these teen girls, you know, like haters and all that.
Hater
But
Tots.
instead, the white supremacist movement got hold of
I
Yeah.
like that there was a little oven in his car, right?
I was going to say,
Right?
that's an impressive addendum to your vehicle. Probably dangerous, but
handing hot tater tots
yes.
on a pan that you've ovened, even with oven mitts, is quite dangerous when you're driving.
Yes. And he just handed it to his passengers. I was like, they're just grabbing this hot tray? Like,
so even though their store was taken down, they had 3 blunts left that were like the high grade shit. Of course, they even decided they weren't going to do it. That when the weed they lit up in the car was a special blunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And when
think
they
it was
found out-
a silent Bob Blunt.
Yeah. Well, they were basically blowing him, apparently.
Pretty much.
Which is funny because Kevin Smith used way more than Jason Mewes by this point in the careers.
Mhm.
It went the opposite way.
Mhm.
Because at this point in his career, I mean, from what I've heard, Kevin Smith was almost constantly stoned. Well, maybe that explains things. And when they found out Merkin has never had one, Silent Bob's like, you know what? He deserves one of the 3 for his first.
Mhm. You
And of
know,
course-
I wonder though if weren't they hotboxing the whole way there? Like you'd think he would have had a contact high by the time they pulled into movies.
Apparently not.
Apparently not. Then again, the first time I ever smoked, I didn't get stoned, so I don't know.
But they left, and when they did, of course, he said his fear was always getting caught or arrested with it. So
Yeah.
what happens as soon as they walk in? He's caught with the joint and arrested.
Yeah, yeah.
So they leave a scathing 1-star review.
And they make fun of the hater tots. It was
Yeah,
And-
they do.
And we also at the movies have a appearance for Kevin Smith's wife,
Mhm.
where he, of course, they reference Kevin Smith going vegan by saying Silent Bob went vegan,
Mhm.
and so he's trying to order, and he's trying to get Jay to order. It's like, no, fuck you, you order your stuff.
Yeah.
So Kevin Smith shows an eggplant emoji, which, keep this in mind, Dave, where you're talking about acting like teens. Technically, they're acting like people who aged but never really matured fully. So
And-
he basically has the knowledge of probably somebody from, well, a Gen Xer like myself.
I will say though, and this is another potential chink in that argument that they're acting like teens. If they had the mindset and were general trying to be teens today, it would take a lot more than 10 jabs at the phone, or a lot less. It would take like 1 or 2 to come up with the emojis that Bob takes like 10 to 15.
Jason Mewes was having a strap-on daydream about his ex-girlfriend on the
you don't know
news
people?
thing.
Yeah.
You don't know people who act that immature at our age?
Oh yeah, there are.
Yeah, I've seen
But
plenty.
yeah. So was this where they saw the
Yeah,
news?
they saw the news, and he was doing his thing in front of the woman who got really, really upset, called the manager, who then took Silent Bob in the bathroom to have her way with him.
Yeah.
And she came back, it's like, no, it's like, you're gonna check out for lunch? No, I ate vegan. Or I
So
had vegan.
we were talking yeah. So we were talking last time about how
Yeah, I didn't realize that was his wife.
yeah. She looks a little different than she did in Clark's.
She looks older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were talking last time about how he had to watch someone else making out with his wife, but this time it was his turn.
So
Yeah.
so Jay decides we're gonna go hunt down Justice because she's close by.
No, they're going to go find Boo Boo Kitty Pop.
Yeah. So they arrive and then are ambushed essentially by a hockey mask wearing fiend
Mm-hmm.
who turns out to be Jay's daughter.
Well,
And-
we find is Justice's daughter, and then eventually we find out, oh, by the way.
Because he basically is told, well, she's like, well, I moved on, visit me because I heard we couldn't fuck when I visited. And she took that as oh, well, okay, it's acceptable then. And then of course let him know about his daughter at the end of it all, and the fact that she was married.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so of course she then has him promise not to tell that he's her father,
Mm-hmm.
but does get to meet her.
Mm-hmm.
And of course Millie, who is actually Kevin Smith's daughter,
Mm-hmm.
is kind of grossed out by the meth heads.
She's like, they just look like meth heads because they're from New Jersey. But yeah, Millie, but her full name is Millennium Falcon.
Which makes sense because,
yes.
I mean, shoot, her real name is Harley Quinn.
Yes.
That's her first name.
Yeah. Well, first and second. Yeah. But yeah, so we find out that apparently Justice's other half is named Falcon, so I guess they gave her the last name. But
so, of course, Millie at knife point essentially threatens them and to giving her a ride, her and her friend who is deaf.
Well, first, Justice leaves with the wife.
Yeah.
Cameo for Rosario Dawson, and they're set to go, and that's when they get ambushed again.
Now, one of the things that they make fun of as they go further into this, as you meet her and her friends, is they're also kind of throwing in the idea that, well, a reboot also makes sure to force in a lot of diversity and a lot of this to make sure that we got all this inclusivity. So it's poking fun at and still showing inclusivity at the same time. So it's kind of funny in that sense.
Right.
Because you had the Middle Eastern girl who was actually named Jihad.
Yeah. Which couldn't be offensive if you think about it.
Then you have the Chinese girl who only speaks through her blogs. And of course you have the black girl who is deaf and doesn't really speak. It's kind of her Silent Bob. And then of course you have Millie. And apparently they decide, because they needed a bigger car, that they would go on and catfish a pedophile. And it's kind of sad when you see some of the cut scenes, because apparently the reason why the guy was dressed up as a superhero is he was like this like born again Christian guy who was trying to save underage prostitutes.
Well, they had that in the
In the end credits, because they put
in the credits, yeah.
They put the deleted scenes in there.
And that might have partly been an oblique reference to Red State, because that did have the whole plot line about the catfishing people that were looking for sex. So that may have
the cross in the van and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, their new plan, as you find out, was that, of course, they meet on this website because they all have fucked up families.
Right.
Yep. And they are all missing their fathers, I guess, or parents.
Right.
They have something going on.
Another thing you were talking about, like they were kind of poking fun at the tropes of reboot / remakes. Jay actually makes a crack about you're not international jewel thieves, are you, or something like that? And they look at him like, what? And he's like,
you're wearing cat suits under there?
Yeah, because that was what happened. He says, like, you know, when I met your mother, they were they were pretended to be this one thing, and then it turned out to be. And then, of course, at the end of the movie, we find out that he wasn't entirely wrong. He was mostly wrong, but not entirely wrong.
I do like how he does have a little introspection there.
Yeah.
Because you see Jay acting uncharacteristically like himself, like, you shouldn't do that. Young girls shouldn't do that.
Right.
And eventually, you know, well, yeah, you're better off not meeting your father. He's a piece of shit.
Right.
Which, of course, then they take the van and run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, I admit it gets rather weird because they decide to basically, they end up having to rescue them from a group of Klansmen.
Right. Now, I will admit that scene, it was okay, but there was one part in it. I did like the way they made their escape. And Brandon, I was reminded of one of your songs. And if they had been playing Who Flung Poo at that point, you should have checked in with.
So, and this is when Silent Bob actually speaks throughout the whole thing.
Yeah,
as he decides to just go and become extremely wordy in this.
He basically paraphrases a speech from Glengarry Glen Ross, but just kind of, just comes in and commandeers the meeting, and they're all like, the hell is this guy?
Which is way out of nowhere because he was like pulling teeth in this one trying to get him to speak.
Right.
I mean, it felt like he was more resistant to speech than even normally in this one. But, and one thing that I missed was Matt Damon's appearance.
I was wondering who that was. I couldn't remember.
Now, Matt Damon reprises his role as Loki, which gives you because they are thinking about doing a Dogma sequel. So if you're looking for where the Askewverse goes from here, that would be where it would go if they do it, especially with Kevin Smith getting the rights back.
And he claims to tell us what happened to him after Dogma, and basically recites the plot of The Bourne Identity.
Now, to me, I felt like that was I don't know. I just felt like that was out of place because he comes on like the narrator and then disappears. That's it. That's all you see of him.
Well, it was kind of, and I don't know if Kevin Smith had this in his mind or not. It may be a coincidence or it may have been intentional. But it was a lot like Margot Robbie's cameo in The Big Short. It's just like, it's completely breaks the flow of the film. It doesn't really fit in with what's around it, and yet somehow it fits. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. My mind surreptitiously edited
I feel like it was a misdirection moment.
Yeah, it was interesting, but it was
to distract you for the moment while he was getting ready for the next scene.
Right.
But they do rescue the girls.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, there is a bond that kind of forms between him and Millie.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Millie's talking about one thing she's always wanted to do is just sit and drink a cup of coffee with her dad and just talk about things and catch up.
Yeah, just
So they
hang
show
out.
up.
Like with dad stuff.
Yeah.
So Jay tries to give some fatherly advice as a friend of her father.
Right.
I can't remember what the first fatherly advice was. It wasn't really.
I think, wasn't this the part where he said, "I knew your father a little bit, and he was a piece of shit. You're better off."
No,
now."
that was when they stole. That was right before they stole the van.
Oh, okay. Was it?
Yeah,
Oh,
because it was more of a dark moment. She revealed the whole thing, the reason why they were there, when they're trying to figure out what their next plan is,
okay.
and that's when they run off.
I thought that they had already stolen the van, and they had found the van, and then after they found the van, that's when they found out that they were being held by the.
Well, after they stole the van, that's when they found out about the clan.
Yeah.
I'm just going back to the scene where they found out that the girls were all like a part of a group that are missing something.
Oh, gotcha.
And
Yeah, that was before.
Because the reason why they're going is because
I don't think that's the part where Jay said that, though, because I think that was the scene between him and Millie. Maybe I'm remembering that
it
wrong.
was a scene between them that happened right after the reveal. There was a scene where they were talking right before they get left for dead, essentially. I forget what they were doing that Jay and Silent Bob were out of the car at the time, but
Yeah.
and then they dropped the final stage of the plan, ditch the meth heads.
Yeah, because at that point in time, they had all kinds of blueprints for their next plans that they were doing.
Their own Home Alone blueprints.
Yeah, right.
So they managed to free themselves. And of course, the reason why they're so eager to do it is because the Chinese girl's got to go back to China, but she's a really big fan of Bluntman and Chronic and wants to go to Chronic Con.
Right.
Because she wants to they want to get her a cameo in the movie.
Right.
That Jay and Silent Bob are trying to shut down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they do finally get to Hollywood.
Yeah.
And they have their bonding moment, but they realize they've got separate agendas when they get to Chronic.
Yep. They're trying to be part of it, and they're trying to shut it all down.
Right. Well, first they get their directions from a hologram of Chris Hemsworth.
Do not hump the hologram.
I think that was my favorite part of the movie.
He does seem like really game for completely random shit like this. I give him points for that. But
well, he's already proven he's got a sense of humor.
Oh yeah. And the girls obviously are all about Hemsworth. In fact, they had that talk in the van on the way there, talking about what they would do with Thor, and yeah, it got a little off color.
Which, of course, was grossing out Jay when he's thinking about it.
Right.
Now, it is funny because when you follow Jay and Silent Bob there, they go on the various panels, and you have the clerks panel, and they're all in black and white. And Jay and Silent Bob realize they're black and white.
Right. Yeah, that was pretty fun. And then we had...
they find out it's Kevin Smith, not Kevin James, which they missed.
Yeah, they kept saying Kevin James the whole time, yeah. Now, it was the end credits, wasn't it, where they had the cameo by Robert Kirkman?
Yeah.
Yeah, where they basically crashed a Walking Dead panel, I think.
Yeah.
I was like, that was kind of fun. But
I mean, the credits were worth watching in this one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So they get in there and they were able to, of course, they end up getting in on Ben Affleck, reprising his character from Chasing Amy again.
Well, they end up dodging, I guess, the same security guard. It's Diedrich Bader again, but they didn't really specify if it was the same guy and he just didn't recognize them, or if it was.
Yeah, it looks like he's basically playing the same security guard.
Yeah, basically.
Mhm.
But yeah, we have the scene with Affleck, which I read, and Brandon, you probably saw this because you watch all the features, I guess. But apparently, Kevin Smith and Ben Affleck had a big falling out. And they didn't do anything together for several years. And apparently, after Smith's heart attack, when he started teasing this movie, Affleck said, "Oh, well, if they call me, I'll do it." And they managed to make up basically by doing the scene. And you can kind of see it in the scene that there was a lot of emotion there.
Well, even Kevin Smith says something to the fact that I guess it takes a heart attack to get to have your friends act in your movie.
Well, yeah. But, and then again, that scene very much references. We get Joey Lauren Adams walk on for a cameo of Alyssa. They talk about how there's a little bit of a self-deprecating moment where she's developing Chasing Amy for Netflix because they make a crack about a white cisgender guy telling this story, and now they're going to have it told by the person that needed to tell it.
Yeah.
And then of course it turns out that Holden allowed Alyssa and her wife to have a baby, and they named it Amy. And so there's a nice little bit of and you see Bob just like almost weep when he hears the child's name. He's so happy. He's like,
well, I mean, a lot of it, and I do think that there's a huge theme throughout it. And I think Kevin Smith really did a lot of this for his daughter.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the little girl, Amy, is actually played by Jason Mewes' daughter. So a little bit of reverse casting there, but yeah.
Well, it would have been much more awkward having his daughter in the scenes that they're having Millie do. Can you imagine that child doing Millie's lines and scenes?
Yeah. No, not so much.
They made fun of the fact that Kevin Smith uses his daughter in every single movie.
Oh yeah. She straight talks about being forced to him forcing him. And then there's a scene where they come face to face, like she is face to face with Kevin Smith, not Silent Bob, but Kevin Smith. And he's like, "You ruined my movie career." And she's like, "I've seen your films. Believe me, you did it to yourself." And he's like, "You little monster, who the fuck raised you?" And then she punches him out and says, "I am so done with Kevin Smith." That was kind of fun. But I do want to mention again the scene that made me kind of crack up in the scene again with Ben Affleck and Holden. And he's telling this really touching speech about becoming a father and all this kind of stuff. Even though it wasn't technically his kid, it was sort of, And he's like, he's talking about, "I used to think life was all about me. I was the hero of my own story, a Bruce Wayne of one lifelong issue of Detective Comics, so to speak. And then that kid came along, and suddenly you realize you're not Bruce Wayne anymore. You're Thomas Wayne. Or Bruce Wayne's mom, whose name escapes me." And I'm like, yes, nice shade on Batman v Superman there. It was good times. But
he was also the way they got the backstage passes.
Yeah.
So that was when Jay realizes that sometimes being a father does allow for sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I'm going to help them get what they need, even if it means having to get this movie made. Yeah. And so he goes in, gets in the backstage passes to see Kevin Smith and try and get in on the cameo.
Mm-hmm. And then he ends up, from what I can tell, it looks like pretty much all of them actually enjoy the scene that they watch of the movie, because Smith presents a clip from the film which features Melissa Benoist as Chronic, Val Kilmer as Blunt Man, and Tommy Chong as Alfred.
I like Tommy Chong as Alfred. Perfect casting.
Yes.
What movie is this again?
Right. Yeah. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
It was it's interesting that Kilmer managed to have two very intriguing cameos after he lost his voice, and having him play a silent character was appropriate for that.
They end up ambushing Kevin Smith
Mm-hmm.
because they find out, wow, Silent Bob, you look kind of like him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And one thing that you note with Kevin Smith, he's wearing a George Carlin shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep it partially buttoned, but that was a tribute to, of course, the late George Carlin, who I'm sure he would have had in that movie had he still been alive.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, when they go on stage in order to get the others there, one of them they find out is wearing a cat suit underneath it all.
Yes.
Because the Chinese girl is actually a Russian girl who is a spy who is wanting to infiltrate the greatest media of Blunt Man and Chronic. I'm still not quite sure what that,
Well, they're infiltrating Hollywood, and I guess this was their way to get into it. But
and I do like how Kevin Smith goes in. He gets, not Kevin Smith, like Silent Bob.
Yeah.
Gets kicked out as they hold the real Kevin Smith hostage. And he finds this Iron Man suit.
I love that.
Right.
I thought that was really cool. Then when he's got it on, the inside is like Iron Man, the electronics and everything, and what he sees.
Yeah, actual Kevin Smith, like, Marvel's gonna sue us for this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I do like how they have the entrance with Jay sticking up for his daughter and making the reveal.
Right.
And then, of course, Kevin Smith coming in, and they have the big fight scene.
Okay.
And the big weapon that she has is a sonic thing that could disable all of them. But they forgot about one of the girls was deaf.
Right.
Which, of course, is her one talking line in the movie.
Yeah. So what is it, like hearing is overrated or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they managed to then get out of the whole thing, and it fast forwards to Jay in front of the quick stop with his daughter and them talking and saying, I'm not quite ready for this. And then she's like, well, what the hell? And then Bob comes back with 2 coffees. So you're going to have to walk me. You're going to have to bear with me as I'm trying to do this. And they start telling the stories about the stuff like them meeting God and all of this stuff.
Right.
Oh, that was the original thing that he was going to tell us. Did you know that God is actually a woman?
Oh, yeah. She said something to the effect of, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And he says, here's something people don't know. God looks just like Alanis Morissette. And she's like, no, now that is, or something like that. Like, I stand corrected. I can't remember what she said, but
I thought she just looked at him like, okay, I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong or something.
Maybe I was wrong. I think that's what she said.
And if you wait for the credits to start rolling, you find out that it was actually Jay and Silent Bob who put gum in those locks at the beginning of
Yes. Yeah. I believe he said something like, we've been doing that for 25 years or something. Yeah. Or we've been putting gun in the locks. And yeah, they do have a lot of things over the end credits. And one of them, apparently the original plan, Kevin Smith as the antagonist of the final act was brought into existence late in the plan, apparently. I don't know how they were planning to do it. I don't know, Brandon, if you know more about this. Apparently, they originally wanted Stan Lee to have a major role in the film.
Yeah.
But he passed away, and so they still paid tribute to him over the end credits. But
It's like, well, let's act it out now.
yeah.
It's like, I was like, well, why aren't you saying your lines? Like, well, I'm Silent Bob. I was like, go back, get me check.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty fun. But
I'll admit that had me in the feels seeing that. Because he was very close to Stan Lee once he got the ability to meet Stan Lee. Shoot, for all I know, that was one main reason he got into all this stuff in the first place, so he could do it. Because that was one of his heroes.
Right.
Right.
But that was Clerks 2.
No, Jay
Not Clerks 2. Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
Clerks 2.5. You might, because it is a Clerks sequel as well as a Jay and Silent Bob sequel. I mean, that's, I guess, one of the things that makes it sort of reboot-ish.
Well, in a way, if you look at it, it is a Jay and Silent Bob reboot because it reboots a lot of the stuff. It calls back to so much. But that was what the original Jay and Silent Bob movie did, is it called back to all of the franchises within the Askewiverse. And this did the exact same thing.
Right.
This was a callback to that.
Oh, I do want to mention one thing. Talking about like, it's not just a callback I mean, again, this is a very, very, very meta movie in a lot of ways. There are a lot of ways. But one cool thing that I didn't notice the first time I saw it, and I don't know if any of y'all marked it this time, but I did notice it this time, and I thought it was pretty interesting. Because we had that part as we mentioned that Millie looks at Silent Bob, looks at Kevin Smith, is like, y'all look just like each other. and then that's when she went up and, they pulled a switcheroo where Bob was trying to pretend to be Kevin Smith for a bit. But it's kind of interesting because in all these movies, Kevin Smith has played Silent Bob, and then they turned it on its head and actually had Silent Bob play Kevin Smith in the movie. And I just thought that was kind of an amusing meta twist that they did for that one scene. But anyway. Anyway.
Okay.
Well, that's it for that. Anything else before we move to favorites?
As far as production goes?
Yeah. Well, as far as writing of the movie goes, the plot.
Well, I think it was pretty straightforward. I mean, though it was a fairly weak movie in my mind, there wasn't a whole lot, a lot that you could probably like go off from. I mean, they basically reboot their blueprint of almost every single movie that they've ever done. So, and just use it as their basis for this movie. So, but I was okay with the production of it and everything like that. And I did enjoy all the cameos from different people. So,
yeah, I think production-wise, it was pretty decently well done.
Yeah.
Didn't see any issues there. That trick with turning them black and white for that one scene was kind of an amusing little
Yeah.
trick. And yeah, overall, they did good with that.
Yeah, I do think that they did pretty good with that. So,
And as Brandon noted with the George Carlin shirt, there were like some little things here and there. Another like production thing that was another nod to the Kevin Smith lore, if you will. When we see Millie's room, there's a poster of Bussing, which was the unproduced screenplay that eventually morphed into Clerks. And the movie poster looks like a Clerks movie poster pretty much. And that was absolutely intentional. And I thought that was a neat little nod.
yeah.
But yeah, there were little nods like that here and there. That the I had another thought and I've lost it. But anyway.
Well, let's talk about some other things, such as
maybe music
design.
Or
did you all enjoy the effects utilized in this film? I like the costume design, especially with the Iron Man suit.
Yeah, I liked that.
That was fun.
It was fun.
And there were some.
Yeah, I liked the Iron Man suit. That was cool.
There were some effects, not a lot, but they did good with what they had.
Yep.
But you know, I mean, it was fun. It did its job very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and music was pretty good overall, pretty solid. There were a couple of good needle drops there, but nothing quite on the level of a couple of the previous ones, I think. But
no, definitely not. But serviced the film okay.
Yeah, music-wise, I didn't feel like it was anything major, but
nothing to call home about.
Well, a couple of them were specific callbacks to previous films.
Yeah.
Like I think the scene with Brody had a song that was a callback to Mallrats, and
we had the theme with Chasing Amy at the beginning of the Affleck again.
Right.
Yeah.
And apparently Harley Quinn is in a band called The 10th, and they used one of their songs at one point. A couple of their songs, actually. And then we had Daughter by Pearl Jam. Of course, that got prominent play at one point.
Yep, I remember that song.
Yeah. So there were a couple of decent use of music.
Pearl Jam was definitely a 90s band.
They were that.
So we're going to do a favorite scene.
Okay.
And since now every single one of you has a number of the Askewiverse films under their belt, your favorite Askewiverse film. I'm going to list all of them so that you have them in mind. Clerks, Mallrats, Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Clerks 2, Chasing Amy. I forgot Chasing Amy.
Yeah, you did.
And let's see here. And then, of course, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot and Clerks 3. Am I missing any? I don't think.
I think you hit all the. If you want to count, the animated series.
No, let's count the animated series as one. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So with that, favorite scene and favorite Askewiverse.
Okay.
Start with you, Dave.
Okay. Favorite scene in the movie is Chris Hemsworth hologram. Sorry. and I know that they had a conversation about Chris Hemsworth and how hot he was and all that jazz, and so they kind of set it up for that whole hologram moment. I also enjoy I do enjoy the Iron Man suit.
I mean, he was the best thing about Ghostbusters 2016, so I can't really say.
Yeah, that's true.
True. But in any case, favorite is a Skewverse movie, Mallrats. Hands down, Mallrats. There's just something about that movie that, and I gotta rewatch that too because it's a classic. But so yeah. Oh, and I guess the moment where he actually tells her, tells the daughter that he is the father. For some reason, I think that was kind of funny.
All right, good going on that. So, Jake, favorite scene, favorite Skewverse film?
There were a few good scenes. I think the scene with Ben Affleck with Holden was probably my favorite. And there were a lot of reasons why. The fact that it was such a nostalgic callback to Chasing Amy, the way it kind of continued that story a little bit, and just some of the elements of it. But again, that one moment where they just threw shade on the most infamous part of Batman v Superman just amused me very, very, very much. I did love the Chris Hemsworth cameo, and there were a couple of other moments that I quite enjoyed, but I think that's probably my favorite overall. And as far as the Skiniverse, I really need to see Chasing Amy again. It's been a long time, but that was always my favorite. It was the one that in my film critic days I thought was hands down the best one.
I'm almost afraid to come back to it because I don't know if it'll hold up.
There are elements that were iffy, and they addressed it in this movie. Some of the elements were a bit iffy. But of the ones that are fresh in my mind, Clerks and Dogma are still my favorites. Of the ones that are fresher in my mind, I don't know if any one of the three is a hands down favorite, but I will. It's easier to say this one is probably the weakest of the bunch as a film, and Clerks 2 might be my least favorite overall, but it's iffy. Yeah. I would say this one and Clerks 2 are definitely a step down from that first batch. That's much clearer.
Well,
The fact that I can say Clerks 2 is way better than this one, it says something.
what about you, Tammy?
Let's see. Well, I like the Iron Man thing, of course. I don't know why, but when they ate the chocolate and they woke up, and they were.
Oh yeah, because they had How High is one of their favorite movies of all time.
And that's how they ended up out of the van, I believe. Was they got stoned?
Yeah, but when they woke up and Jason Mewes' ass was hanging out.
Right.
Yeah, the way they had them set up in the middle of the road like that was just. And of course, the camera had to like zoom in on dude's butt. It was like, okay.
I was gonna say we got the butthole cut.
Right.
I have to admit, I have never seen How High, guess that's one I'll have to see one
I
day.
haven't seen it either, so we're in the same boat.
Right.
But I found those scenes like really funny and everything. Um, now the favorite out of these movies, I don't know if I've ever seen Mallrats. I know I haven't seen Chasing Amy, so I'm gonna have to go on these. And I think I like the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
All right. A fun film.
Mm-hmm.
For me, my favorite scene is the "fuck you money" where he whips that out because it made me laugh harder than any point in this film. I don't know why. I also like them referencing Kevin Smith, and it's like, I mean, the guy who made Cop Out, you still let him make movies after that Walrus shit. I mean, that's
Yes, the Kevin Smith jokes were also one of my favorite parts.
takes a lot to be able to make fun of yourself.
Yeah.
Though,
Yeah.
knowing Kevin Smith, it was not that hard for him.
Chronicon. Who would want to watch a Kevin's go to a festival that and pay tribute to that guy's movies, and then they look at the audience and give them a "fuck you" sign.
And yeah, and most of them do crap on the original Blunt Man and Chronic movie all the way through the movie.
Yeah.
Like and again, the audience reaction of that one scene makes it seem like this might be a reboot worth having.
Boochies.
But yeah.
Now, I do think that some of the stuff in it with the father and daughter stuff, it is very heartwarming, and I felt like it was genuinely done. So I give it that for making me feel something in a movie that probably wouldn't have normally.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, I'm split on the Askewiverse. If you had caught me in the early days, I'd have said Mallrats, hands down. But Dogma is probably my favorite overall, now that I look at it again. With Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back as my guilty favorite. Because I'm not going to lie, if you were to stick them all in front of me and say, which one are you going to watch every day that you stick it in front of me? And I had to watch one of them every day, I would probably watch each one individually all the way through. But when we started repeating, I'd probably return to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back most often. So, yeah. Because it's the one to me that's the most fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the best movie by any means, but sometimes the best movie is not always the one that you want to watch all the time. When I'm talking about writing, direction, and all that.
Oh yeah, like I had a conversation today at lunch about Lars von Trier and Dancer in the Dark and Dogville. Excellent films, but I do not want to watch them frequently.
I would say a lot of it's, when you think about it, is your definition of the best is the best movie, that movie that you really want to enjoy, that you truly get true enjoyment out of time and time again.
Right.
Or is it that movie that you enjoy the one time and get that one full meaningful hit? And therein is something that critics such as Jake and myself have been arguing about since the start of our channel. Actually, since before the start of our channel.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space, me all the time. So
I did enjoy that, I will admit.
And Kim despises the movie, so it's all those weird things.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Killer Clowns though, so it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, That's it for Askewiverse for now. But don't worry, we were gonna do Clerks 3, and we're gonna do it. And I'm
Yes.
probably gonna find a way to shoehorn in Mallrats and Chasing Amy again, so that Tammy can say that she's seen all the Askewiverse. So we can ask that question again when we finally get to all those 3 last movies. And everybody here will have seen all of them. And Jake will have been able to refresh Chasing Amy, so he can then say, oh yes, it is truly the best.
Chasing Amy had a third act train wreck that when we get to it, we'll talk about
Well,
it. No,
the
that
problem with Chasing Amy is that Geely tried to copy that shit and failed. And
I never saw Geely either, although from what I hear, I didn't miss much.
it was still the same basic thing. Ben Affleck showing a gay girl that, well, you just got to find the right one.
Yeah.
But any case, Dave, you can take it away. We've got a new month to announce, of course.
Yes, of course. Hopefully you all have enjoyed our discussion on this particular film. It didn't take us long, but I enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys did, and if you haven't seen the movie, go out and see it. Right now, I think it's playing on Tubi and a few other freebies. But it is at least worth at least a one-time watch. And once you go see it, come back and listen to our discussion and let us know how we did and what you thought of the movie as well. And I guess we'll be back next week with an all-new exciting Christmas month. And I'm sure we've all picked a few good classics or at least some Christmassy type movies. Brandon, did you want to give us a rundown of our next month here?
Sure, as I'm hosting the film for next week in our internal group. So we end the year with our New Year's recap, which will be Sans Clerks 3, because it would be kind of rude for us to talk about how much we loved or didn't like Clerks 3 when we didn't see it. But then for Christmas week, we're hitting How the Grinch Stole Christmas and the Flintstones Christmas Carol. Because, hey, we've been doing Grinch movies. This will be our 3rd year straight for that. And I think we've been doing Christmas Carol more years than that. So let's keep up that recap, especially since we never got the original Grinch Stole Christmas in there.
Yeah.
Jacob decides he needs to throw us an art house LA Confidential boomerang, which I found out we have covered on the channel before.
Which one?
LA Confidential.
You did cover that.
We have covered it before.
Oh,
We have.
Yep.
before my time, I guess.
So
I don't even remember.
the full list of the ones that we've covered. It's been a while, but we have covered it. Then second week is going to be a streaming only film called Dear Satan.
Oh dear.
Emmy's going to hit for us. And then, well, you thought you were rid of Kevin Smith, but you're not. Because I'm going to bridge the gap between this and that with a anthology holiday horror film called Holidays, which features a short from Kevin Smith. So we can enjoy that. And to those watching SeptumSin versus the World, if you can't tell, my ability to talk is not exactly the best. And it hasn't been for almost a month. But my hope is that by next week, I'll be able to resume business as usual.
Alrighty. Well, in any case, hopefully like I said, watch the movie, come back to the channel, give some comments, and we'll see you next week as we continue to cover some great and grand films for the holidays. And we'll finish it off like we said with an end of the year review. Hopefully, like, share, and subscribe. And everyone have a great evening and a great Thanksgiving, since that's coming up this week.
Indeed. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yep. Snoochie boochies.
Snoogies.
Inside movies galore, just makes you just want more. We've had all in the world of media to explore. Horror, anime, or Curious George. Our love of new things was our reward. It is the best night of our week.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.